There's still plenty of questions surrounding the early release and the time credits handed out to the suspect from the California Department of Corrections. And now, a new proposed law on the books, AB 1260. It would require the State Department of Corrections to have more transparency when it comes to early release. The authority or the author of this bill, Republican Assembly Member Joe Patterson out of the Rockland area. We want to bring him in as he joins us now. Welcome to Sunday Morning Matters. Thanks for joining us.
Great. Well, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
We want to learn more about this. I understand the bill was already being written before the tragedy in Selma, but I would imagine the tragedy that we've seen in Selma has helped to really highlight what you're proposing.
Yeah, I think, the unfortunate reality is, there are cases that are popping up all over the state of inmates getting out of prison early without any real substantive rehabilitation, and they're going out and offending and actually more than one occasion committing murder. And I mean, obviously taking somebody's life, and especially somebody that's protecting and serving our communities, that's a problem and something we need to get to the bottom of.
AB 1260, what exactly would it do, especially maybe in the case of what happened to Officer Carrasco Jr.?
Well, the most important, it's really a transparency bill. I mean, prosecutors, law enforcement and victims deserve to know when people are being released from prison and back into the community, especially if it's being done early. There is a process in which essentially the Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation can release people early, and honestly, we've been calling it secretly because district attorneys and law enforcement victims don't even know what's happening. And I think that that's a problem. So this really creates transparency, so at least our law enforcement can go out there and protect communities. But I got to say, I just object to the way people are being released in general. I mean, people are going in automatically getting 50% credit for just walking into the doors. And Jerry Brown, when he was the main proponent of this measure, said that that would not happen. There would be no automatic releases. But that is what's happening, and it's a problem.
Yeah, you're talking about AB 109 there. And honestly, I'm wondering, it does go to a subcommittee, as you know. It goes through all the stages. Bipartisan support. Do you have that, and do you really believe it will get out of the subcommittees?
We're working on it. It's very early in the process. I happen to be talking with a Democratic legislator today, and he did express interest in it. So I think, there's a realization that this is a problem and it's impacting communities throughout the state. And so I am optimistic about it, but also I'm realistic in terms of what the partisan dynamics are. But this is not partisan to me. I'm not. We just got to solve problems. I mean, we had AB 109, we had Prop 57. Let's go ahead, and we know what the problems are. Let's fix them.
I'm wondering if the law that you're proposing was already in existence, would it have prevented the murder of Officer Carrasco Jr.?
I hope so. You never really know, right? I mean, if people don't receive the rehabilitation when they go to prison, the vast majority of inmates, no matter what, are getting out of prison, and the state does not invest the money and the resources into rehabilitating people. So I can't say for sure whether this would have prevented the death, but I'm obviously committed to making sure that when people do get out of prison, that they're making seriously better choices than what they've been making.
This is going to be kind of a long-winded question, but I really want to set the background for our viewers here and yourself. So I got a spokesperson that emailed me back when I asked the time credit question in relation to the suspected cop killer here. And this is the CDCR sent me this, saying the suspected cop killer received 1,621 days of pre-sentencing credits from the sentencing court for time served in county jail while awaiting trial. He was also eligible for day-to-day good conduct credits pursuant to his crimes. He was released to the Fresno County Probation for post-release community supervision in September of 2022 after completing his term as defined by the law. So when you hear that, What's your response to this pre-sentencing credit and good behavior?
Well, the bottom line is this. It's that these credits are not issued based on actual rehabilitation. That was the objective of AB 109, Prop 57, was to, try to get people rehabilitated if they're going to let them go early. But, the way the credits are calculated, first of all, sometimes nobody really knows how they are calculated, but they're given just based off all sorts of things. For example, if you spend a day in jail, you get more credit than if you go to prison. And that's because the state is trying to incentivize people to stay in the county jails rather than go to the state. And so that doesn't lead to any rehabilitation at all. That just is a process question. And I think it's problematic. And pre-sentencing credits are basically the same thing. They don't make any rhyme or reason. They certainly don't protect the public. And, this is one serious incident of many that are happening throughout the state.
I'll finish with this. I mean, again, if there has been some kind of malfeasance, we don't know that. If there's been some kind of undeserved time credit by the CDCR, does that open them up, or at least the state, for a lawsuit from the victims?
Well, I think it opens them up no matter what. I mean, the reality is that this is happening. I just want to assume that CDCR is following the processes that are laid out by the state. But really, as a legislator, we have to provide some oversight on that. I know that the senator is going to be doing the audit. We have to do those things so we can get some answers. There was a mass shooting in Sacramento last year that was another case of somebody being released early, and then people died as a result. And if deaths are occurring, we certainly need to make sure we're evaluating what's going on.
All right. Assemblyman Joe Patterson, appreciate the time. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it.